Imagine watching the biggest IPL final of the year. The stadium is packed. The atmosphere feels electric. Fans are screaming their lungs out. Everything looks perfect. But suddenly, you notice something strange. Only one team showed up to play. No opponent, no pressure, no challenge. At first, nobody cares. The batsmen keep hitting boundaries. The commentators keep praising them. The crowd keeps cheering. But slowly, something changes. The players stop diving for catches. They stop running seriously. The hunger slowly disappears. Because deep down, they already know nobody can stop them anymore. And eventually, the game itself loses meaning. Now think about this carefully. Can the same thing happen to countries? Because history shows us something fascinating. The biggest danger to powerful systems is not failure, it is comfort. And sometimes, the moment nobody is left to challenge power, power slowly stops challenging itself. This video is not about BJP versus Congress. This is not a who is right, who is wrong debate. This video is about something much bigger. Why every healthy democracy needs competition to survive. Think about some of the greatest rivalries in history, Messi and Ronaldo. For more than a decade, these two pushed each other to impossible levels. Every goal scored by Messi created pressure on Ronaldo. Every trophy won by Ronaldo created pressure on Messi, and that pressure created greatness. Now imagine if only one of them existed. Would football still feel the same? Probably not, because challenge changes human behavior. The same thing happens in business. When Apple launches a better phone, Samsung reacts immediately. When Samsung improves cameras, Apple responds. Competition forces innovation, and we, the customers, benefit from that rivalry. But what happens when competition disappears? Humans naturally become comfortable, and comfortable systems slowly stop improving. This pattern exists everywhere. Sports, business, technology, and politics is no different. Because governments also behave differently when they know someone can challenge them. A lot of people misunderstand opposition. They think opposition exists only to criticize the government. But actually, opposition exists to prevent democracy from becoming too comfortable, because democracies were never designed around blind trust. In fact, democracy is built on one uncomfortable truth. No human being should ever have unlimited, unchecked power. No matter how intelligent they are, no matter how popular they become. That's why democracies created balance. Government, courts, media, elections, opposition, all these institutions exist for one reason: to constantly test power. There's a famous quote: "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." And history repeatedly proves this idea. Not because all leaders are evil, but because humans change when nobody questions them anymore. The biggest danger to democracy is usually not sudden dictatorship. It is citizens slowly becoming comfortable with never questioning power. And once that happens, systems start weakening from inside. Over the last decade, Indian politics changed dramatically. Narendra Modi and the Bharatiya Janata Party built one of the strongest political movements India has ever seen. Their campaigns became sharper, their messaging became emotional and direct. Their organization became incredibly powerful, and millions of Indians connected deeply with that leadership style. For many people, it represented confidence, stability, nationalism, decisive leadership. And because of that connection, BJP continued becoming stronger election after election. At the same time, opposition parties struggled badly. Many failed to adapt to changing voter expectations. Many voters also felt the opposition focused more on attacking Modi personally than presenting a clear long-term vision of its own. And slowly, Indian politics started becoming less competitive. Now, having a strong government is not automatically dangerous. In fact, political stability can help countries move faster. Big projects become easier. Decision-making becomes faster. long-term planning becomes easier. But democracy becomes vulnerable when competition becomes too weak, because powerful systems improve fastest when they know someone can challenge them. And history gives us many warnings about what happens when that challenge disappears. History is full of powerful systems that believed they could never fail. Take Nokia. In the early 2000s, Nokia dominated the mobile phone industry. Inside the company, executives became too comfortable. Employees became afraid to challenge leadership. And slowly, the company stopped seeing reality clearly. Then came the iPhone, and the company that once ruled the world collapsed faster than anyone expected. Not because they lacked money, not because they lacked talent, but because nobody inside the system was challenging decisions anymore. India has already experienced something similar politically. In 1975, during the emergency declared by Indira Gandhi, opposition leaders were jailed, press freedoms were heavily restricted, and criticism of the government became dangerous. For 21 months, one of the world's largest democracies experienced what happens when political power becomes stronger than democratic balance. And eventually, the public pushed back. Because history repeatedly shows us one thing: no government becomes dangerous overnight. Systems slowly become dangerous when criticism disappears, and citizens become too afraid or too loyal to question power. But politicians are only one part of the story. The bigger change happened inside society itself. Politics today feels less like public discussion and more like fan culture. People defend political parties the same way sports fans defend teams. Criticism feels personal, questions feel offensive, and social media made this even worse. Because internet algorithms discovered something dangerous. Anger keeps people online longer. Balanced discussions don't go viral. Extreme opinions do. So slowly, politics stopped becoming about policies and started becoming about identity. If my side did it, it must be correct. But that mindset is dangerous for democracy because no leader is perfect, no party is perfect. Healthy democracies require citizens who can do two things at the same time: appreciate good decisions and still ask uncomfortable questions. Because questioning power is not anti-national. In many ways, it is one of the most patriotic things citizens can do. At the beginning of this video, we imagined a game with no competition. At first, it looked like total domination, but slowly, the game started collapsing from inside. Because competition is not the enemy of success, competition protects success from becoming arrogant. And maybe democracies work the same way. A strong government is important, but a strong opposition is equally important. Because democracy was never designed to worship power. It was designed to balance power. And maybe the real responsibility of citizens is not blind support or blind hatred, but independent thinking. The ability to appreciate good work while still asking difficult questions. Because the moment nobody is left to challenge power, power slowly stops challenging itself.